Hi, there are things that I've found that have helped me create better ships on WOS space, so I am here to share them. My first piece of advice is knowing what you actually want to build. If you just kind of start placing stuff, you're not going to know what you're doing. You need to really plan a foundation for what you know is the necessities of your whole creation. For example, say you want to create some battle carrier. You should do your best to make something that's either a rough draft or a literal placement of where you know you want your power cells, fuel, and airspace to be. And also, don't make it a brick. It's so easy to just make a block and then shove whatever in and hope it works. Which it probably will work, but when the higher beings look down upon you, they will only want ultimate destruction. And I mean like laser beam. Because who doesn't want to just annihilate this tiny little box? If you want any advice for this specifically, I remember watching this Minecraft video. I would recommend it, even though it is a bit unrelated, but it gave me a bright idea of how to just do your best with simple shapes, so yeah. Don't make a giant box. Well, speaking of boxes, have you heard of cylinders? Because I haven't seen a single person figure out how to do this yet, but you can create a perfect cylinder using normal Roblox welding mechanics. Basically, your first step is to go to mathsfun.com. Wow, what a great name. Anyways, this is where I go to look at their shapes and calculate the degrees necessary to make my perfect sized cylinder. From here I calculate how many sides I want my cylinder to have. Usually my shape ends up being somewhere between 12 and 20 sides. Though for most standards I would recommend a 12 side shape because it's easily the simplest to deal with while also managing detail. Now that I know I'm going to make a 12 side shape, I'll go in the studios and insert a flat plate of titanium. Following this, I'll open a plugin called Archimedes. It's very helpful for calculating shapes. I'll just open it up and insert the degrees that I know are for my cylinder based on mathisfun.com, and then I'll know how to do the calculations. Now that I have a giant cylinder, you want to get 2 wedge points and stick them between every crease. Once you've done this, you can make them fit together almost exactly. The point of this is to make the Roblox client think these 2 wedges are connecting when they're not really. They just end up being really close to the point that their weld is artificially created. So I'd recommend using increments like 0.01 until you get them to fit almost exactly, and then compile this model into the testing place so you can see if it actually welds together. And if it does, to do this for the rest of the cylinder, and then things will just work out and you have this nice cylinder looking thing that can be turned into basically anything. Those are the main pieces of information, but there's a lot of other smaller things that can really help. For example, did you know mining lasers were volumetric? I had no idea this was true until I tested this recently. But literally the perfect way to regulate the coolers on the mining laser is to literally just make the coolers have the same volume as the mining laser, even if that means resizing them so that they're about the same length. And similar to this, I did some tests on the reactors, and I found out the perfect relation between pumps, reactors, and steam turbines is about 5 pumps for every 1 reactor, and for 1 reactor you have about 2.25 steam turbines. Now 2.25 is really confusing, but basically what I'm trying to say is it has to be above 2 steam turbines or below 2.5. 2.5 being if you times it by 2. If you're making the most simple reactor, you would need 5 pumps, 1 reactor, and 3 steam turbines. But if you're going a step up, you can use 10 pumps, 2 reactors, and 5 steam turbines.